Carolyn. Welcome, everybody. Session today is navigating SAM.gov. And for the agenda, first I want to tell a little bit about me, who we are at the Small Business Development Center, what is SAM.gov, registering on SAM.gov, and then take a few items to look up for contracts, different things of that nature. And last, we'll go over some other useful sites that are helpful when you're dealing with the government. So a little bit about me. I've worked with various government contractors since 1990. I teach government contracting, pricing, finance, and management courses at a local university. And prior to working with the government contractors, I worked in a commercial bank. Started as a teller and became a loan officer. And since 1990, it's been government contracting. Now, who are we at Small Business Development Center? We're a resource partner for the Small Business Administration. We have 21 centers across the state. We offer individual, confidential consulting at no cost to our clients. All our consultants are highly trained to assist both existing and startup companies. Now, our consultations, we consult on your business plans, your financial projections, fiscal and operations management, financing options, marketing strategies, human resource, and many, many more. Now, we also in the centers conduct education workshops and provide referrals to useful business resources. We also have specialized services. They include exporting, technology commercialization, veteran business assistance, minority outreach, and government contracting. So what is SAM.gov? Well, this is the System for Award Management. It's an official website of the U.S. government run by the General Services Administrations, and there's no cost to use SAM.gov. But if you want to do business with the federal government, you need to be registered on SAM.gov. Now you want to ask yourself, is your business ready for government contracting? You want to look at different items. Does the government buy what you sell? Do you have the federal contracting experience? Do you have cash, inventory, working capital? If you win a contract, are you capable of fulfilling that government contract? And do you know where to find contracting opportunities? That's what we'll take a look at SAM.gov here. Now, when you sign on to SAM.gov and go to home, you'll see this little item here. Come down here, we'll circle this where it says get started. You want to press that button, first of all. And that'll lead you to this. Okay. So before you get started, you'll see a bunch of items here. It says, okay, about registration, set up a SAM.gov account, prepare your data, and then get started. Now you'll notice this entity registration checklist. I want to stop this screen, and I'm going to go to that checklist. think I'll do it, just sign on to SAM.gov and we'll go through a few scenarios here. Okay, bear with me for a moment. And I'm going to sign in right now.
And Scott, we're unable to see where you are.
That's right. I'm signing in right now, but
Okay.
I'll share my screen in a moment when I get signed on. Okay, now let me share my screen again. Are you seeing me on SAM.gov now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Right, so just to go through those, if I went to home and I'm going to press this get started button right here, that's going to give me those 4 steps you have to take. And this entity registration checklist, are you seeing the checklist?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is about 18 pages, but it just takes you all the steps that you need to sign up for SAM.gov. Of course, if you need help with any of this, you could always contact me. And this is just another resource that you have as you register for SAM.gov. Now, once you get registered and you're in there, then you could start going for different awards. You could look for different contract opportunities. You might come to search and say, I want to find contract opportunities. And I'll say, I come down here, and there's various ones. You do it by federal organizations, certain dates, the notice type, like some of these are sources sought, pre-solicitation. You'll see these items that are sources sought, that the government is just doing its marketing research. It's looking at there and saying, hey, do we have the capabilities? What kind of firms? Is a woman-owned small business? Are we able to make this contract a set aside? Pre-solicitation, same type of thing. So you could search on all those. You could search under your NAICS code. And NAICS code is the North American Industrial Classification System. And what I have here, this is 541330. And this is for engineering services. Now it could be any. When you register on SAM.gov, you'll have to identify a primary NAICS code, but you could have several in there. It doesn't really matter as long as you can perform on those different NAICS codes. Let's look at engineering services. And you see there's a big array here. This contract opportunities. This is PEO C4I, different ones. And sometimes they're just showing you some updates on here. And sometimes it's the actual solicitation that's coming out. And with an actual solicitation that's coming out, you're looking for usually a 30-day turnaround time. So where you're looking at the solicitation, request for proposal, and you're looking for this one to, the government's going to have certain items here that you'll be following. The instructions are usually in section L of the request for proposal, and it could be different items. It could be highly, even down to the font that you're using on these. And it's going to give you the time dates, the due dates, when the solicitation is needed. Now I could also, doesn't have to be that one. It could be any of them. Let's try another one. Let's try another construction. Construction. We can narrow it down a little bit more. But these ones are separated just by the NAICS code starting with 23. That's the identifier. Now, place of performance. You do another one. Let's try this one. This one is 541612. Now, this is human resources consulting. Now, you see a lot of these that are out there, but you might be, well, I could only do this in the state of South Carolina. So you might want to identify the place of performance. And so let's see, let's try for South Carolina. We look here and there's nothing. So when you're looking at there under that NAICS code, there is not anything in South Carolina for that, but over the entire federal government, there would be some solicitations. So if you're only a firm that can satisfy a contract within the state of South Carolina, this wouldn't be for you. If you can perform outside the state, then you have the ability to do that and complete the contract, then by all means. Now, set-asides. You could also do this by set-asides. Let's see, like a small business set-aside. There's one here called a service disabled veterans owned small business. Now, there's all kinds of different certifications that you can get. That's through the Small Business Administration. And I'll take you to the site there for a little bit. But you see all these contracts here, all these bids are pre-solicitation notice, this first one. Take a look at this one. Now, this is through the Veterans Fair Department of VA. And this one's architect and engineering for engineering services. And you'll see, you read through this, it's very important that you read through it all. But this one is just, like I say, for service disabled veterans. Now there's different items here. You come down. They have a past performance questionnaire with this one. So if you look at this one, because if you're working with the government wants to make sure that you're able to do the work that they're soliciting for. So with this questionnaire, we'll say, it's opening up in Microsoft here. So it's going to go through and take you through a series of questions, a questionnaire. Have you done this before? Because like I say, they want to make sure that you're able to perform the various items in this solicitation. See other items here. Okay. Now, it's very involved, but like I say, if you need help with any of this, once you get registered, you found your NAICS code that aligns with your business, and you find a contract, might be a source of sod, might be some kind of pre-solicitation. These give you an opportunity to send your what's called a capability statement to the contract officer. And you might request a capabilities briefing with the contract officer. So you can get in line and say, hey, this is what my company can do for you. And you could do other things. You could do entity information. There's certain assistance listings, a whole array that SAM.gov can help you out with. Now, let's kind of going through SAM.gov, a little briefing here, but let's go to some other sites. Okay, so some other useful sites to go to is www.usaspending.gov. Now, it's at this one, you can find out if the government is buying what you're selling. So let's go to that one right quick. Are y'all seeing usaspending.gov?
I see where you clicked on the link, but it's still showing your presentation slide.
Oh, okay. Well, let's try this then. How's that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So what we want to do here, we could go to a word search, advanced search, and we could say, well, let me check. You can go back from all fiscal years, going back to fiscal year 2008. maybe you want to take maybe about 3 years here. And I'll do this based on the NAICS code. And you could do it based on, let's see, that 541330. And that's engineering services. And you can submit the search. Now in this time frame, what this screen is showing us that there's been currently in fiscal year 22, all of fiscal year 21, and fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2019, there's been a total of 17,859,803 contracts. And if this NAICS code is one of yours, we could say, okay, well, let's look at this one. This one is for, was awarded from the Department of Energy. And this was a $30 billion contract. So this is a nice a tool that you could use by putting in your NAICS code, and you could find out if the government is buying what you're selling. Now this contract is also telling you there's still 2 years, 11 months remaining in it. So it's a nice little tool to use. Let's try a different one. Let's try and NAICS code 541612. Now this was the human resources. So let's do a search on that. Doesn't seem to like that one. Let's try again. I'll put that in there, 541612. And submit search. Now under this one, this is for human resource management. Or it could be a different array. Whatever the NAICS code you have, you come to the site and you can see if the government's buying what you're selling. It's a nice site to go to because USA Spending tracks all this information for you. Now another one that's really useful, of course, is the SBA.gov. Now that's a small business administration site. And let me go to that one as well. Okay, and here we're at the Small Business Administration site. So we could go into, federal contracting. And they give you a contracting guide. If you're looking for the size standards for your certain NAICS codes, contract assistance programs. Now, these are the ones with the different type of certifications that you can get. On small disadvantaged business, the woman-owned small business federal contracting program, veterans assistance programs. Nice one here is too, is the 8A business development program. Now with this one, you can take, it's a 9-year program. And the first 4 years of this is business development. You're constantly, and need to put 100% of your time into this one. Because what it is in your business, 15% has to be non-government, 85% is government as you're growing your business through year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. In the last 5 years of the program, it's kind of wean you away from it a little bit until you finally graduate, or if you get too big in size and revenue, it graduates you early, different ones. There's the mentor protege program. Now this one teams you up with a larger business to a smaller business, the mentor protege, which is nice for because you get to use all the knowledge and everything from the bigger company if you get into that. There's a Hub Zone program. Now this is the for small businesses in historically underutilized business zones. Now it has a goal of awarding at least 3% of government contracts to Hub Zone certified companies each year. Now the nice thing about this, like I said, last year the government spent over $500 billion in government contracts. Now 23% of that needs to go to small businesses. So which is a big chunk of change out there. You say there's also, like say, funding programs, different items that you get. And another useful site is the GSA site, the General Service Administration. Now the GSA let me get to the site real quick. Now the General Service Administration, they're the ones that are responsible for SAM.gov. So they're policing that one. They're looking for these. They have different programs also for small businesses that you could look into. Another item, if you can get a GSA schedule. That's another way to do business with the federal government. And lastly is our site where you could register. You could register for counseling services and any ones that I went over earlier. If you want to go over how to navigate through SAM.gov some more, we go more detailed that. If you want to find out about how to get the different certifications, we can go through that as well. And so I think that's about it. Do y'all have any questions?
So if you would like to type your question into the chat box, or we've got a small group, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask a question, that would be wonderful. So does anybody have any questions that Scott asked?
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Rainey. I have a question concerning SAM.gov. I have two entities that was registered or that are registered on SAM.gov. One is an LLC and one is a PA. The LLC we're not using anymore because we are now operating under the PA. When I went to SAM.gov to try to complete my entity registration or after it was, I guess back in early April, it was like there was an update or something. It is no longer recognizing PA. It only shows the LLC. And so I'm kind of stuck at that point where I can't really do anything on SAM.gov. Beyond like opening an incident, is there anything I can do to move it along faster? I opened an incident maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago and nothing has happened.
Okay, and sometimes when you're putting it through, it could take anywhere from 14 to 21 days to process it.
Okay.
So you might just be close, but not at the finish line yet. And but what you're talking about earlier, yeah, it did change. In April, it used to be you had to go through and get your DUNS number, and then you got applied on SAM.gov, and they checked each other's information out. After that passed, went on to the next session. Now it's just a unique entity identifier number that's automatically generated when you go on to SAM.gov now.
And I have that number. So I have the UEI. I don't know what my MPIN is. And so I can't do the certifications that you were talking about under SBA because it requires the MPIN. And so I'm waiting for them to call back. I just didn't know if there was something I could do to move it along a little faster.
But you already have a call into them, ma'am?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you sit tight on that one, see if they get back with you, and if not, let's get together and chat maybe sometime next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions?
How you doing? My name is Sean Edwards. I kind of had the similar issue that she had but I got kind of caught in between when they did require the DUNS number, and now I have the UEI number, and I had an address mismatch that I had to go in and correct. because I was using a virtual address instead of a physical. And I had to put in a ticket because, so my question is, right now, my business name is matching a business in Coral Gables, Florida, and it keeps bringing up that business. Will they resolve it on their end, or is there something that I need to do on my end to get that resolved so they're not mixing up the two?
Yeah, that's definitely, so when they're matching up your business, it's out of South Carolina, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but they're matching you with a business that's in Florida. That's what's
Correct.
happening?
Yeah. So when I put in my information to try to validate my company, I'm in the validation stage right now. The only businesses it can find with my business name is one that's in Florida.
Yeah, and have you contacted anybody from SAM.gov or?
I put in a ticket to have
Okay.
them have the address updated. They responded back and told me they needed proof of address, proof of existence. So I had to add in all of those documents for them.
Okay,
So right now it's still showing submitted, but when I go in to try to do the validation to kind of see if it's been updated, I'm still seeing that same company.
okay. Yeah, like I say, sometimes they get a little lagged and usually with any change, it takes a little bit of time to go through the system. But I think the same thing, if you want to send me, we could even get together later next week, do a Zoom call. You could share your screen with me and we
Okay.
could go through it and see if we could get to move faster.
Okay. Perfect. Is there a way I could contact you? Is it the same email that when I went?
Oh, actually, let's see. Here's my contact information for everybody.
All right.
You see, it's a SB57 @mailbox.sc.edu.